Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you? This is Amanda. I do hope that you're well. So today is the 2nd of October 2023 as I record this video for you. It's going to be an energy overview of the month ahead, which is October, the 10th month of the year, and numerologically a number 8 in this particular year of 2023. So I'm going to be talking about a new rhythm that is in town. I don't know whether you have been feeling it as much as I have. Some of you, I'm sure, will be on the same page. If you're not, you soon will be. So the best way that I can articulate what this is and what this feels like is a completely new rhythm. But even though we can feel it or we can sense it, and it may very well be that that new rhythm, which is a more peaceful, slower, gentler one, a place of compassion, a well of great peace, a well of great healing, a well of great love, it may very well be buried underneath a whole load of rubble is what I'm seeing. It's as though the new energy is covered by a load of rubble, and we have to search through that rubble to find it. What is this rubble? The rubble basically is our own thought processes, our own distractions or distractions that are out there in the world, the dramas, the gossip, the lower energy that is all around us in society. But percolating quite nicely is this softer, gentler rhythm that we can tune into now and is here. Now, even if you haven't seen the results of it yet in your life, you may well not have. You can have a sense that this is going to bring in enormous change, because when the rhythm changes, the whole reality changes. A way to explain it to you is in my little world where I'm sitting right now. I'm knowing that this space that I offer to you is soon going to look very different. It has to, because it has to reflect what I am becoming and what I am stepping into and what I'm evolving into. You take the best of the past, all that you've learnt, but you then transform and change and evolve into something new. And so therefore the exterior has to change. There's been all of this inner energy percolating, as I said, within us. Many people haven't been able to see this inner transformation and change that has been ongoing. This longing maybe for a different way of doing life, another way of expressing ourselves, another way to be creative, another way to maybe be heard, another way to maybe make a living, another way to be in relationship with people and other. It can be many different things for many different people. But I know that by the end of this year, as an example, this room's going to look very different. I want a completely different vibe to it to match the vibration that I'm feeling within. And when we let go of an old rhythm and an old vibration that's maybe suited us very well, has done us proud, there can be a reluctance to let go of it. But we have to be authentic and to be able to express who we are now rather than who we were a year ago, a decade ago, a week ago. I hope I'm making sense. Metatron describes it, or what I'm being shown by both Metatron and Mary Magdalene today, is it's like re-entering the womb space. So it's like in reverse, because this isn't an actual death, physical death. It's a spiritual reckoning moment where we're not dying in this moment. Most of us aren't anyway. Some people might be, but I'm not right now. But it's the reversal of the normal process whereby the soul incarnates into a womb space. It stays there for 9 months, it gestates, and then it's born and it goes out into the bright new world. We're already in the world, but yet the world around us is changing so fast. Some of it for the better, some of it not. But yet those of us that incarnated to hold the template for New Earth have to go back into a womb space right now to be able to create and manifest and ground this new rhythm, this new template, this new earth. And so there is a calling to go very deep within. It's a very reflective place to be. And once the signal change happens within you, is what Metatron is saying, it's like within you there's a new track, there's a new track line. You've been operating, your DNA has been operating on this old track line of who you were, maybe who other people expected you to be, with goals, with ambitions that you may very well have completed. You know, an experience, a life experience along this track line. And your soul was quite happy with that. It incarnated, it was that. But there's a new track line within ourselves right now that's asking, it's literally like a signal change. And myself and many of you are jumping onto this new track line. And isn't it interesting that I'm talking about a track line, which could also be a timeline, but it's within us. You see, often when people talk about timelines and track lines, it always feels as though they're talking about something external to themselves. I'm just going to try and grab hold of that timeline. I'm going to jump onto that. Or I've noticed that, you know, I'm operating in a different way. It's always an external thing. But it can only be like that if you've already made the change inside yourself. Change always starts within. So this is noticing, number one, a different rhythm within your body, a different rhythm within your mental processing, a different rhythm within your emotions, a different rhythm within your responses to the world. And all of this is going on at a time when the external rhythm out there in 3D is going along the same old track line it always had. We're not seeing the changes. It's like, where is New Earth? New Earth and the template for that and the rhythm for that is seeded within us. It flowers within us. It blooms within us. It gestates within us. It's very much where I am at the moment. So this new rhythm is more mellow, it's softer, it's gentler. It doesn't mean we can't still have moments where we're, you know, whatever. But right now, this month of October, which is wanting me to introduce this whole subject, is welcoming this new wave and this new rhythm in. And what I would say to you is, if you're resonating with what I have said so far, do not fight it. Do not fight it, flow with it. Yeah, I am going to use the example of this room just because it's a good one. I know many of you watch me, you're used to the way this room looks. You're used to the colours, you're used to the presentation, you're used to how I look, all the rest of it. And of course, the core of that will stay. But I'm not going to spoil the surprise. I'm just going to say it's going to look very different by the end of the year. I'm still going to be in this house. I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be sitting on this chair. But pretty much everything else might have changed. It has to, because I am changing. And what's interesting, when you go into the womb space, it's not just a reluctance sometimes from yourself, although I've worked through that, I feel, in terms of, oh, but I can't let that go. I can't not do that. I can't not cover that. I can't not show that. We can work through that because that's sometimes coming from a place of should. And should isn't really a new earth energy. We let it go, like the trees, the leaves falling, we let it go. But it's also about letting go of other people's expectations of us. Being okay with the energy of change. You have to, I have to be okay with the process of change. As I look out of my window, I'm seeing a magpie and he's sitting on top of the street light and I'm just noticing his feathers. And it's like you have to be okay at ruffling a few feathers. Oh, but we liked it as it was. We liked you as you were. I'm not talking about myself here, I'm just talking generally. And when that comes up, yes, there can be a grain of truth in that. But there's also an energy of fear of somebody shining a spotlight in your face and saying, I'm changing. This is what change looks like. And if you're resisting it, it can often be because you're resisting the change in your own life, in a different way maybe, in a different form. So we're going to be flowing through these next few months into new energies, new ideas, new concepts, new ways of doing things. I'm expecting some people to fall away. I'm also expecting new people to find me. And that's good, and as it should be. Never hang on for the sake of hanging on. I'm still going to be covering the sort of things that you like me to do, but I'm evolving into something different. I'll give you an example of the vibe that I'm in at the moment and what when I say I'm aiming for, that's not accurate because I believe that as a creative person, as I'm sure you are as well, we never wish to copy. We have to be our own unique expression. We have to be individual. We can look at somebody else in terms of how they're operating and think, I really like that. But you don't become a carbon copy of somebody else. That's a cop-out, it's the easy way out. You find something within that that speaks to you and you think, yeah, I can take a little bit of that and do my own thing with it. And then from that, I wonder how that would Metatron's given the analogy of how would it grow in my garden. So, the example of you see a beautiful plant in somebody's garden, maybe they're on a different part of the world from you, with different soil, with different climate. And you think, I really love that. I'd like to put that in my garden. But then you plant it and you're in the UK and it's cloudy and it's rainy and you don't get the sun and it doesn't work. And that's fine, but you've discovered something in that moment. Anyway, this person I'm talking about is someone that I have mentioned before. He is called Heinz. Some of you follow him, I'm sure. HINDZ. He calls himself the #1 chill out zone on the internet or something like that. He's a very cool guy with dreads, Rasta dreads. And he's matching where I'm at the moment in terms of this rhythm. I think this is the rhythm of New Earth. And it's about losing the distractions, realigning to peace in every moment as much as we can. knowing that we're going to fall short, knowing that we're going to wake up some days and we're not going to feel peaceful, we're not going to feel aligned, we're going to feel frazzled, we're going to feel angry, we're going to react, but always remembering that we have a choice. We have a choice in every moment to come back to that place of peace. And the more that we come back to that place of peace, the more that becomes our norm. Because peace and love and the energy of, it's just a calmer rhythm, is the rhythm of New Earth. One of the things, he did a video, I think last week, which stayed with me the whole week. And it was called something like, I'll link it below, unfollow these types of people. He called it something else, but essentially that was it. It wasn't a video in any way that was about naming and shaming. It wasn't a video that was pointing the fingers of accusation and judgment. It was just saying pretty much what I have been saying for months. I've been talking about discernment. I've been talking about being the quiet eye in the storm, the calm eye of the storm. He just said it in a different way, in terms of we are addicted to the dopamine hit of what's next. You know, you might have tuned into this video October. What's next? What's going to happen in October? Have you heard about this date? Have you heard about that date? You know, what's going to happen? What's the next disaster to befall us all? What's the next thing that they're going to do to us? All of that may be very true. But does it actually serve you? Does it actually serve you a lot of the time to be in a heightened state of anxiety, actually, and stress response within the body? And there's many people that are feeding that. The truth is that fear sells. Fear sells. I think this guy's got something like 800,000 followers on YouTube. The video I'm talking about, and a lot of his recent ones, where he's in this more mellow, well, he's always been mellow, but you'll get it if you watch his work. He's also talking about breath work and, you know, coming back to center. It's about 10,000 views for 800,000 followers. That takes bravery and courage, and I'm completely there with that as well. Because this is the thing, you can't not be authentic in this next part of the ride. In fact, what Metatron's showing me is those that are inauthentic and are doing the work for whatever reason, for the wrong reason rather, it's like they're going to get thrown off the ride. We don't want to be thrown off the ride. We're actually here to be on the ride in this lifetime, to enjoy all of it. But it's a bit like anything. In fact, my new car's got this great new little feature on it. Maybe it's standard. I've never had a new car before. I'm loving my new car, has to be said. It's very cool. It's very chilled. It's very smooth. But the point is about this car, that it has a thing on it where, you know, you're driving down the road and obviously you're between the lines. You're not going into the middle of the road. You're staying between the lines. And it has like a colour system which shows you whether you're veering too near the side or too near the middle. And then when you're just right in the middle of the road, you know, it's happy and it gives you a green light or something. And I just think that's sort of the state that we need to be in at the moment. Not veering off the road crazily to the extremes. And the extremes are what we're seeing in our world right now. Extreme polarization, extreme duality, hatred, aggression, social media becoming a cesspit of just hate, horrible hate. But those of us that are wanting to bring something else to the table, a softer vibe, a calmer vibe, hopefully it's what I've always been anyway. I've always been heart-centered. This is just a deepening of that. We're needed here. We're needed also in society. You don't have to be a YouTuber. You don't have to be on social media. I've got lots of people that follow me who do all sorts of different jobs. I know I've got people who are on the checkout in a supermarket, shining their light there. Absolutely, you're needed. Whether you are working in a corporate environment, absolutely, you are needed. Whether you are working the roads, working the railways, you are needed to be this calm eye of the storm. to be like my car, which is happy when it's just trundling along. Now, middle of the road doesn't mean boring. Middle of the road means peace. Middle of the road means an energy which is to do with just being at peace with where you are. So that's where I'm at, guys. That's where I'm at. I'm going to pull some cards now because I will carry on using cards. But equally, I want to bring my voice out more next year. I started off this channel in 2012, and obviously, you know Metatron, he's always been with me, he always will be with me. But this, what I teach with the Archangel Metatron energy, is that he's a bridge to your higher self. That's what he is. So when it's always Metatron says, or Ashtar says, or Jesus says, that's all valid and good. But it should also be, what does my higher self say? What can that teach? That's where I'm going to be going more into that. Anyhow, guys, let's pull some cards. And I'm going to start with the Herb Crafter's Tarot deck. So October, a number 8 numerological month. Number 8 is the energy of Saturn. It is that slow steadiness in a month which I'm sure probably might very well be frantic with all sorts of things happening. You may not know if you don't follow me on Facebook and Instagram, but I'm writing a book at the moment. It's a conversation between me and William T. Steed, who I've channeled before, an eminent journalist of his day, died on Titanic, was, what do they call it, nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Fascinating man in all sorts of respects. But one of the things that William was saying yesterday in the automatic writing that I'm doing with him is this thing about breaking news is one of the biggest cons, actually. He didn't use that word, that's my word. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. But the thing about breaking news, and there's always breaking news somewhere, you know, if you're glued to 24/7 news channels, is that often this news doesn't actually affect you. And yet it does, because it's programmed to do exactly that, to knock you off from your place of peace and equilibrium, your place of harmony, where you can be the most effective instrument of spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it in this world. Nobody listens to somebody who's just, you know, screaming their head off and in a state of complete turmoil. People listen to the quiet, steady voice of reason. But yet this breaking news phenomenon in our world, and there's always breaking news, and then it goes cold, and then there's something else. Ask yourself, does it serve me most of the time? What am I hooked into? Am I hooked into people that are just serving up more and more of that? Have you heard about the latest scandal in America? Have you heard about this development in the Senate or whatever it is? You know, what do we think about this person, that person? Sure, you've got an election coming up next year. We've got an election here in the UK. You can have an opinion on it. You can research it. But ultimately, see, this was another thing William was talking about yesterday. He was showing me that days of old, but there's, you know, sometimes we have to take the best of the past with us, but sometimes we don't. So in the old days, and I remember my dad even doing this in the 1970s, 80s, the newspaper would drop through the door in the morning. My dad would take his paper out. He would read it, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. It would then be folded up. Nobody ever really looked at it after that. And then news, breaking news, didn't really come into the family home. It didn't come into my father's head throughout the day. He just got along on with his tasks. But we're not able to do that right now because of all of the flashing, you know, breaking news energy that we have. So just watch that. It's about trying to get some structure, which again is a very Saturnian energy. October is a Saturnian month, being a number 8 numerological month. try to get some structure, try to get some pace that is right for you, some rhythm that is right for you. I went somewhere yesterday and I bumped into somebody I hadn't seen for a long time, a spiritual lady in my town. Don't know her very well, but she's a really nice lady. We had a nice chat. And one of the first things that she said or alluded to was, just felt like she needed to draw back at this moment in time and, wasn't feeling that sociable, didn't want to be doing lots of different things, was just drawing her energy back. This is somebody who's a very wise, I was going to say elder, she's my age, in our community, spiritual elder, she's been on a path a long time. And I said to her, oh my God, thank you for saying that. I said, because I thought I was just becoming completely antisocial, because it's exactly where I am. And I'm a Cancerian and I've got a shell and we like to retreat from time to time. And yes, it's autumn, but it's more than that. It's this new rhythm that is asking us actually to do less, but to still do something, but in a powerful, focus, undistracted way. Again, going back to this guy Hines, one thing he's doing, I won't be doing this, I don't think, but it's a brilliant idea, and I'll just tell you what it is he does this live stream, and he's playing very soothing, chilled out music, and he comes on occasionally, and he'll do an affirmation into the mic or say something positive. But essentially, it's hour space, 2 hour space where you just come on. He's in the background. You're not necessarily even watching him. And the idea is he's sat there doing his work, or writing, whatever he's doing. And then you're doing the same, So imagine if you're a student. We're all students of life. You're just there. It's like community, but in a different way. But it's community that isn't shouting at you to do something, I think it's brilliant. I think he's next level. So I'm going to that level. Hopefully I'm sort of there anyway. But you're definitely going to be seeing a bit of a change. So it's all good. Right, let's now get to the cards. So yes, this pullback energy. And actually the lady did say to me, she said, I also think it's because we just sense something's coming. And again, you see straight away that the animal brain, the primal brain that we have, it straight away goes into, oh my God, what is it that's coming? Is it a meteor? Is it a crash? Is it this? Is it that? And we can't help ourselves because we've got this primal brain that does that. But yet again, the teachings with William T. Steed that I'm going to be doing more and more of, but it's about, he talks about how the mind and being in control of our mind and our mental process is so crucial. One of the next channelings I want to do with him is in the book The Blue Island. He talks about the fact that we, when you get to the other side, okay, when you're dead, although are we ever really dead? When you're on the other side of the veil, it's not, he doesn't use the word judged, but it's as though you can very clearly see those who had control of their minds and those who didn't. And he talks about the fact that you can have somebody who, I don't know, had done something terrible in this life, maybe like an act of passion or something terrible that they did, and then they're jailed for it. But then you see who they are, you see what they were, you see what they've done. Maybe they atone for that. Maybe they turn their life around in 10 years' time and, become spiritual. They learn from the experience. Versus somebody who, on the outside of society, looks like a pillar of the community, upright, godly, never says anything wrong, never does anything wrong, is completely respected by everybody, but their mind is running riot and they have all these, William's words would probably be wanton desires, but it doesn't have to be sexual, but it can be just the energy of, nobody knows what's going on in anybody's mind. And sometimes there can be some really sick, twisted stuff that's going on in people's minds, but yet we don't see it because the outward appearance is this person is, a pillar of the community, versus the person who's done the deed that you can see, who then turns it around. So it's really, really interesting. So the energy of the power of our mind and the need for us to be aware of our thought processes Anybody that does mindfulness, meditation, breathing energies, you'll know the first time that you meditate, usually people think it's a disaster because you sit down, you want a quiet space, and then you get all of these thoughts coming into your head, about whatever. And it's like the monkey mind just kicks in. But it's sort of making peace with that monkey mind. And then the more that we do, we start to be able to grow this place of peace within the mind. It's as though we notice the thought comes in. It's a bit like the cloud that passes across the sky. You notice it, you acknowledge it, you let it go. And then over time, less and less of these clouds, which are basically thought forms, come into being. One thing I definitely want to get more into is meditation as well. So I will be doing some meditations to help us chill and to help myself chill as well. Because I think we need it, because I think that the world is just getting crazier and crazier. The energy out there is getting more and more extreme. It's not going to stop this year. It's not going to stop next year. We've got, years maybe of this ahead. So it's like, how do you keep your boat afloat in this energy? Because we are living in this world. We might be operating at a different vibrational frequency, but we're operating in a world where there's a lot of feral energy. There's a lot of, and that's because, I know you know this, but I'll just put it into context. It's because New Earth wants to come in, and Old Earth is resisting it. And anybody that's got a very strong attachment to Old Earth will do anything to try to preserve it. The energy of better the devil we know, so even if this version of society, this way that just this version of society, even though we can see the holes in it, we can see the flaws in it, we can see the big gaping wounds in it, it's still all we know. So we're going to latch on there. We're not going to latch on to something that's just dreamy and might never come in. But those of us that came to do exactly that are going to do exactly that. And it's to do with how do we help ourselves to do that. And it comes from being in this new rhythm. Okay, it comes from being in the new rhythm. You see, on the bottom of the deck, we have the Lovers, and it's the Hawthorn energy. So the Lovers is the energy of choice. And it's really interesting, isn't it? I've also got this one. I'll take that one as well. We've also got the World. But let me just look at this one first, because it actually shows the Vesica Pisces. And the Vesica Pisces, of course, has got the two linking circles, which create the third gap, or third space rather, in the middle. And the third space is what we're trying to birth. But we definitely have a choice. So we have the energy of the Lovers. I'll look up the meaning of Hawthorn in a moment. And we've also got the World, Pachamama. And the World is the end of an old cycle. We've all heard the expression along the lines of, you can't create something new by just carrying on doing the same routines and the same things you always have. But it's like there's a lot of people out there that think that's exactly what the way you are going to do it. So this is definitely a time of great surrender, because we don't exactly know how we're going to get there, but we do know that the best tool that we've got is the energy here of our heart, our stillness, and also being, when I say in control of our mind, control is a word that's got many different connotations, some negative, but this is more master. Metatron's saying master is a better way to put it, mastering our mind. Okay. We've also got the Two of Air on the bottom of the deck, which is Chicory. I'm going to take that one as well, because the Two of Air would be the Two of Swords. Definitely this feels like choice point times. But I've said that to you before. I might have said that to you 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But rather than us thinking that choice point times, again, is like an external thing, it's a decision that, is going to be presented to, well, it is in some way, it's a decision that's being presented to us, but it's coming from this internal place. The Two of Swords, the choice point, the crossroads, it's within us. Do we keep investing in this old earth energy, or do we try and flow into something else? And if we flow into something else, we have to do it differently. We have to be in a different rhythm. And that's why, going back to, for example, me changing around my room and things like that, but this is also applicable to you. You might very well be feeling, and you don't even understand why. It's like, I don't know why, but I need to paint my wall a different colour. I need to get rid of that old piece of furniture that was fine, but it's not fine anymore. I need to move things around. I might need to move my workspace into a different room. I might need to rearrange my bedroom. Bedrooms are very important. It's where we sleep. It's where we heal. It's where we recharge. So look at your personal space. Look at your business space. Also, if you're working, look at what you're doing in your working week, the offering that you make, the activities that you're involved with, excuse me, the creations that you make. It might be that it's just had its time. It's time for something new. I'm seeing artists in my head here. It's just another good expression. Artists, musicians. You might have always, painted in watercolours, and now you're feeling, for whatever reason, I need to paint, I need to use chalks, I need to go back to black and white, I need to be using pencil. Or it could be something, I want to get into AI art. There's no right or wrong, actually. It's just about change. It's about following this urge within ourselves to try something new. So this energy of hawthorn, having said that, I don't know where the book is. That's not right. Oh, it's right in front of me. I did that earlier. I was looking to light a candle, and I was looking for my lighter, and I went through all of the drawers. I was thinking, where the hell is it? It was right in front of me. So there's something here about what we're probably meant to be doing or going into is literally staring us in the face. It's an obvious projection. It's an obvious evolution. And I love the words of this card, the Lovers. It says, dance with the beloved. That energy of dance, rather than be very, rigid, that this is the way I've always done things, this is what people like, this is what I'm good at. No. I've always acknowledged times in my life, and I've had a few of them actually, where I've had to let go of stuff that I've done, which, without blowing my own trumpet, I've been good at. And it's always been about, you have to let that go now because there's something else you're meant to do. And then the shadow energy kicks in, the monkey mind kicks in, and it's like, oh, but what if I'm not good at the next thing? And I always say to people, if you've been good at one thing, why do you think you're not going to be good at something else? So remember, you're a child of the universe. You came here to be creative. It's really important we step into that. So it says two hawthorn crowns lie on a delicate light green satin cloth. You see the detail in that? The fact that they're crowns, the fact that she's describing not just the colour of the cloth, the shade of the green. She's describing the fabric. There's something in that. There's something in the details there, which is a message in itself. Pay attention to the details. It's as though we're missing the details. The old 3D energy of rush, 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 go, go, go. We're not noticing so much of life. Whether it's your children growing, maybe you've got a little baby, you've got a toddler, you've got whatever age your children are. Your children are always your children, even if they're, grown up, people. We can miss so much. This is the thing about the clock slowing down, is what Metatron is saying to me. The clock slowing down. You see, there's power in that because we're living in times where the clock is speeding up. What are you talking about? Doomsday clock. We're at 5 to midnight, or maybe we're edging even further towards it. Time is running out. Can you feel the energy of that? versus the energy of actually time is slowing down. Time is slowing down. And this is also to do with I have the time that I need. I have the time that I need. I make the time that I need. This is also to do with noticing that there are periods in our life, absolutely, when we have more time and less time. But it's very easy for people to sort of say, I have no time. But then we're scrolling for hours looking at meaningless stuff. Hopefully what I am delivering is not meaningless stuff. But this is the truth of it. It's to do with you watch, you read, you follow, you listen, you meet things that are worth your time. And I think we're being asked this October to reappraise, is this worth my time? Is it worthy of my time? Only you can answer that question. And maybe that's linked into your life stage. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But you need to ask the question. Because I'll give you two other questions. Number one is, can you feel this new rhythm in town? Can you feel this new energy in town? And the second question is, are you going to be brave enough and courageous enough to change and flow with it? And that comes with a whole heap of stuff, because people expect you to be doing that, to be showing up in that way, to be, maybe you're in a family, and, families are great examples actually, because it's very easy to get labelled in a family, as the one that always does this, or the one that will always do that, or the one that's always like this, And then if you present a different side of yourself, because that's all it is, it's showing a different side of something that's always been there. It's like the clock face just turning to show a different hour, a different moment of your incarnation. Very, very important that we don't get stuck. And Metatron's saying this is particularly important because of where we are in the world as well, not just because we're trying to birth new earth, but because we are, unfortunately, in times where our freedoms are getting eroded. There is more, weird thing to say, but less choice in some ways in terms of how we can operate, what we can say, how we can be, etc. And you might think, well, hold on a minute, there's all sorts of different expressions of how you can be. But you need to question that as well, because it's only within acceptable little pockets. It's like you can be that, but you can't be that. You can say this, but you can't say that. Okay, so actually, is there more choice, or is it just being presented in a different way? Is the magician just throwing up the balls in the air so we can't actually see what's really going on? But the point is, we know that that is the energy out there at the moment. It's confusion, distortion, erosion of freedom, and society wanting us to fit into neat little boxes in many ways. You tick this box, okay, you tick that box. So in that light, what we do as human beings, as souls, is we rediscover within ourselves that I can be anything. I can be anything. I can manifest anything. I can say anything. Obviously from a place of love, a place of peace. Okay? You can't chain me in that way. So this process of change is very, very important right now for your soul, for your mind, for your physical body as well. Okay? Back to the card. The Lovers, Hawthorn. So we know that there are these two crowns lying on a delicate light green satin cloth. The crown above is covered in small fragrant white flowers. The crown below is full of tiny bright red berries. The stems of each lead to piercing thorns. The crowns woven together form a Vesica Pisces. And the space where the wreaths overlap is the place where potential lives, where magic is created, where love dwells. Let's just repeat that little bit there. This space in the middle of the Vesica Pisces is the place where potential lives, magic is created, and love dwells. Let's go back to what I was just saying 2 minutes ago. The external appearance of the world at the moment, the erosion, the lack of freedoms, all of it, okay? The walls closing in type energy. Can you see that even if that is occurring, even if that gets worse, this space here, which exists within you and me, is where potential, magic and love dwells, and nothing can ever take that away. So it also talks about hawthorn opening the heart and igniting passion. Relationships based on shared desires lead to sweet rewards. Take only what is yours, only what fills you with joy. If you pick too many flowers in the spring, the tree will yield little fruit in the fall. So when making a choice, trust your heart. Though the thorns can be menacing, they can also be protective. Okay, so we have the energy of hawthorn. And I also want to go to the energy of chicory. Let's have a look at the energy of chicory. 2 of air, chicory. Anybody grow it? Don't think I've ever tried to grow it, but maybe it's a wild one, I'm not sure. Okay, let's have a look. 2 of air, chicory. It asks us to release long-held beliefs, to be receptive to guidance, and to be open to unlikely partnerships. It says chicory thrives in a meadow. The tall stems pierce the sky, and ground-nesting birds make a home in the dense brush beneath. The flower's blue petals jut out like platforms, hubs of pollinating activity. I love the descriptive words in this little book. It's very much where we're at, noticing this type of detail. Go for a walk and notice what you haven't noticed before. Notice the changing seasons, whether you're coming into spring, whether you're coming into autumn or fall. Notice what is occurring around you. Because the more that we do that, the more we come into a partnership with everything, with the flowers, the trees, the birds, the elements, with God, which is in every living thing. It says bees and moths gather morning nectar, wasps devour aphids, and 2 white butterflies flitter about the wild field. So the 2 of air is to do with old ideas can be blinders to new wisdom. Yeah. Let go of worn-out thinking to see an issue clearly. Chicory is often classified as a weed. It is, however, a beneficial medicine plant that draws important insects to the garden. Be receptive to new guidance. Gather information before taking action. And then be still and look within. As the long chicory taproot brings nourishment to the surface, a deep dive will quiet self-doubt. What is really true? Acknowledge what you do not want to accept and then be willing to listen. Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's completely, really what I've been saying, isn't it? Okay, so we have some themes there. I'm going to ask, what is the main lesson for October? What is the main lesson for October? I think I'm going to stick with this deck. Okay. So for the people watching, what is the main lesson for October? We could replace the word lesson with opportunity. Let's do that. Because lessons are opportunities. What is the main lesson or opportunity? We have 10 of Pentacles, horsetail, as the lesson or opportunity. Okay. 10 of Pentacles as the obstacle. Before I read what it says in the book, I'm just intuitively feeling it's linked into not wanting to let go of what we've already acquired. You see, 10 of Pentacles. It's what I was just saying about if you've been good at something already, If you've already got a good harvest doing something, why do you think that you can't merge into new energy, plant new seeds somewhere else that aren't also going to be just as successful? Because the common factor in the two initiatives or the two fields that are planted is you. So it's about trusting yourself, trusting your own skills, your own gifts. I'm also feeling very strongly that we need to be looking back and actually giving ourselves a pat on the back in terms of how far we've come, what we have actually achieved already. Now, achieved doesn't have to be a certificate on the wall. It doesn't have to be a sum of money in a bank account. Oh no. It can be many things. It can be the impact that you've made on anybody's life. The things that you've said, the things that you've done. What you've brought to this earth, basically. Okay? What have you brought to this earth? And from a place of wounding, I can feel that some of you want to say nothing. And to that, I will say you've brought everything. You've brought everything. You've brought your vulnerability. You've brought your rawness. You've brought your commitment to stay here, to keep trying. Yeah? So keep going is what I want to say. Keep going. 10 of Earth, horsetail. I was just picking up that woundedness that's here. Maybe we need a spray actually at this point, because I am really feeling that. There's some people are listening to me thinking, I haven't achieved anything. I haven't done anything yet. I know somebody actually in my own life who would probably say that, who has said that, you know, they've got to a certain age and they don't feel as though they've accomplished anything, they haven't done anything. But I look at that person and I just see somebody very, very kind, very caring, very compassionate, very gentle. Do you not think that these are qualities that the world needs right now? My God, the world needs them. But yet the world is prizing other qualities, okay? The Kim Kardashian type energy in the world. Birds just flew across the screen as I said that. We need to let that go. I don't want to label her necessarily or point her out, although I just have, but it's just because she's an example. She is just a manifestation of what we prize in our society. You know, whether you think that, well, I'm not even going to go into it. She's an expression of what society has put up there as something to aspire to. All well and good in a planet of duality and polarity and freedom of expression. She's allowed to be whatever she wants to be. There's nothing wrong with her actually being successful. What troubles me is the fact that you don't have maybe other people as prominent who've maybe got the polar opposite qualities. I'll leave it there. But yeah, I feel we need a spray. And which one do we need? I actually pulled out these today, the oranges and the yellows, but I'm feeling as though I need pink. So we're going to go for magenta. Always go back to magenta. Of course we're going to go for magenta. And why do I say that? Because those of you that are colour therapists know what I'm about to probably say. Magenta is the bridge to the new. Let me repeat that. Magenta is the bridge to the new. We are being asked to bridge the new, literally, to bridge new earth, but we're also being asked to bridge into our new life. To breach, like the whale. We're being asked to breach, to change. I haven't got the card in front of me, but I'm just seeing that card from the, I think it's the Stephen Farmer deck with the breached whale in it. That's exactly where we're at. Magenta is the bridge. It's the bridge. In fact, I've got a new version of this bottle. Let me get the new version. It's, yeah, isn't that lovely? I need to show you the older version and I need to show you the newer version. Because can you see there's teaching in this? Okay, so it's like these represent you. The old version, beautiful, lovely, still useful. okay? Still useful, still loved by many, still will always be within you. The new version, it's slightly shinier. It's also had a name change. The old magenta bridge we called As Above, So Below. It's got an opaque bottle. The new magenta bridge has got a transparent bottle. Don't know if you can see it. It's more transparent, it's not opaque. And it's called Time and Self-Mastery. I love the fact that I've showed you the old and the new bottles. It's the old version of you and the new version of you. They're both beautiful. Shall I actually spray from the old and the new magenta? And let's just see what messages we get. Magenta, for those of you that don't know, is probably one of the primary colours linked into Archangel Metatron as well. In fact, I was thinking, in the last couple of weeks, this has been going on for a long time with me, this inner transformation, but I was thinking one of the things that first brought me to my spiritual path, really, and I'm talking about not 2005 when I first did a colour therapy course, but age 5, standing in a classroom, being fascinated by the colour table, the gold table, the red table, the blue table. We had to bring different objects in of different colours. That was when colour got me, age 5, first year of school. And I was just thinking, colour's definitely coming with me. Why? Of course it would. It would never not come with me. But anyway, let's go with the old magenta, as it were. You see, this is the thing as well. I don't want to talk too much about colours because we could go off on one for another 2 hours. But the point is that you've heard people, probably myself included, talk about the fact that the chakra colours are changing. It's why within the chakra system, within the Metatron range, we have some unusual colours at different places, silver at the crown being one in particular. And there isn't a consensus of opinion. There is an old consensus of opinion in terms of the 7 chakra colours are this, okay? And that's what it is, and that's what it will always be. But it's not true. They're changing, and they will continue to change, and they'll continue to evolve until basically they're rainbows in each of the chakras. So, it's not about leaving behind the old colours. It's the fact that you also can add in new colours to the chakra. So, for example, with the crown, absolutely you can still put purple there if you want to, or magenta there, but you can also put silver. You can also put different colours. So anyway, that's just one way of saying that we bring the old with us. We don't discard the old. We just have additional energies to play with as we open up, as the chakras open up. Anyway, let's go to a message with regards to Magenta Bridge. This is the older version. It's called As Above, So Below. As Above, So Below. And I'm being shown what do they call it? A step ladder. A sturdy step ladder that you might have in your home that you stand on when you're going to put a picture on the wall, or you're putting the Christmas tree lights up. It's a very sturdy step ladder. And it's one of those sturdy step ladders that's then got the square on top of it that you can actually stand on. So it's got a couple of rungs, and then it's got the thing that you stand on. And it gets you to a certain level. That's the point of what I'm being shown. It will get you to a certain level. And it's very solid, and it's very sturdy, and it's very rooted, okay? Because we need our roots. I don't want to deviate too much from this message because I've said a lot about the sycamore gap tree that was felled in Northumberland over on Facebook and Instagram, 2 videos and posts about it, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But one thing that I did see about it is that somebody was saying, who knows a lot about trees, that did you know that 40% of a tree is below ground? Interesting, isn't it? Which also means that it can regenerate, hopefully. But anyway, let's not get too much off the beaten path. The point is, this old magenta energy is showing that it's helping to get the 40% of the roots below ground, but equally it's then getting you up to a certain level. So it's saying that it's done that work. It's done that work. This community that we have created together, it's got us to this point, okay? It's brilliant. It's got us to this point. Thank you very much, anybody that ever bought it, anybody that still has it in their kit, keep using it. But the new magenta that is in town, I suspect this is, I already can feel it before I've even sprayed it. It feels like it's the, what is it? The Charlie and the Chocolate Factory elevator. You know, he gets into the lift at the end of the whole book, and the elevator just shoots through the glass ceiling, and it's just off. It's just off, like Doctor Who, into a whole different realm, because we're smashing through the glass ceiling with this new one. Because this one is also because it's time and self-mastery. So I love that Doctor Who reference. Doctor Who is a sci-fi programme in the UK, very popular. Think Star Trek if you don't understand what Doctor Who is. But yeah, so Magenta Bridge is just, the sky is the limit is what I'm hearing. The sky is the limit. The sky's the limit. So this is where we are at right now. The sky is the limit, but I'm saying it to you. Okay, because you have to appreciate that there's a lot of people walking around in our world like this, okay, just staring down at the pavement. You know, they're not looking up to the stars. They're not going within to their own potential. They don't even want to try. They're just looking down like that, okay, just looking down at the pavement. And but this is the opposite. This is like smash through the glass ceiling. But this is for humanity. But we're the starseeds that came to lead the way with this, okay? It's brilliant. How wonderful is that? I wondered why I had to change my dress today. I was wearing something different for this video and just didn't feel right. And I've put this dress on and realising now it's just these beautiful hues of magenta. Love it. Okay, so let me just see if there's anything else to say about this Ten of Earth horsetail before we go on. I think I'd like to bring a goddess energy in as well today. So Ten of Earth, horsetail. Remember, this card came up in terms of what are the lessons, or, you know, putting it positively, the opportunities to grow this month. So this is to do with ancient magic, modern medicine, finding strength deep within. The wisdom of the elders takes root in the bones of youth. Wow. Shall I just say that again? The wisdom of the elders takes root in the bones of youth. I just need to process that for a moment. You see, again, this was something that William T. Steed said yesterday in the channel Automatic Writing. He was talking about the fact that every day we need a moment just to distill what we've heard, to think about, okay, what was the message, for example, in this video? Or what was the message in that article I've just read? Or what was the meaning behind what that person just said to me? Or how am I feeling? Whatever, you know? But we don't allow ourselves that, do we? Before we're leaping on to the next video or the next piece of music. I do it myself. We're all guilty of it. But this is where we're trying to train ourselves to get into a new rhythm. Because I want to think about that expression that they've just said. The wisdom of the elders takes root in the bones of youth. Wisdom of the elders takes root in the bones of youth. Wow. I just think that's profound. I might do some writing on that off camera. It says, you are safe and secure. Now remember, this came up as a challenge. So this is what maybe we're not feeling. You are safe and secure. You are a well-established member of your community. Know your work supports and sustains others. Horsetail both gathers nutrients and removes toxins from the area. But hold on, let me just go back to that bit that they've just said. There is an insecurity here with us that somehow we haven't succeeded, we haven't contributed enough, we haven't done enough. It's never enough, because that's the old way. It's never enough. You know, you can have somebody that's written a, I don't know, New York Times best-selling book. It's never enough. The person that's got the Grammy Award-winning album, it's never enough, because then I've got to repeat it, then I've got to do another and another and another, and then I've got to establish my legacy. You know, and I'm trying to control that. Oh my gosh, we just need to chill, don't we? We need to chill and calm down. We need to know that we are already established. It's like the plant. You're the plant that was seeded, however long you've been alive. I'm whatever age I am. Starting to get to the point I don't really want to say. But anyway, you're the age you are. I'm 56. You're the age you are, okay? Or whether you're 23, whatever age you are, you're established here. You're here. Whatever state you're in, whether it's a bit ragged around the edges, whether you're this, whether you're that, you're still here. You're still here. Well done. Okay, so start to feel like an established member of society, of tribe, but you basically need to have one foot in both camps. Old earth and new earth. It's a difficult place to be, my friends. It says, pause and connect often with all that you have been given. Yeah. Horsetail is a relative of a 400 million year old plant. Wow. You come from ancestral giants. This has all taken place before. Sometimes in order to be effective, you learn to grow small and multiply. Nourish as an underground network. Oh, I like that. Come back to that in a moment. Nourish as an underground network. Mindfully gather from resources that have carried generations. An underground network. It's not that, well, maybe it is an underground network, but it's more that those of us, if you're still here, you're listening to me, you're one of them. It's like we're trying to nourish this new rhythm. Let's go back to what I was saying at the beginning of this video. We're trying to nourish this new rhythm. We are trying to nourish and plant seeds for new earth. It starts within us. It's an underground movement. It is. Because out there in society, in many towns and cities, you're not necessarily seeing new earth played out. Certainly the media won't have you believe that new earth is sprouting up anywhere anytime soon. But it's an underground movement and it's growing strength. And one day you'll start to see the 40% that is beneath the ground. And once it rises up, it'll grow beyond any expectation. Okay? Right. I don't want to make this video too much longer. I think what I will do is pull a goddess card. I just feel like doing a goddess card. So this is the Goddess Power Oracle from Colette Baron Reid. Let's see what October, which goddess energy would like to join us this October. Which goddess energy would like to join with your own divine feminine energy this October? And that includes you, if you are a man or however you identify, your divine feminine energy, you have it within you. What goddess would like to join with her? Start to sense and feel your divine feminine energy within yourself. How does she feel? What does she look like? How does she sound? How does she breathe? How does she roll? Water, water everywhere. We can't get away from the energy of water. We have Mama Kocha, not sure if that's the pronunciation. Card number 33, master number, water. Let's see what this particular goddess is about. Okay. I like the fact that this deck brings in goddesses from all different parts around the world, all different belief systems as well. So let's see. It says, the world that we inhabit began from the oceanic waters of life and the waters that surrounded us in the womb. What was I saying about going back into the womb? That's exactly how I'm feeling. It's like we're going back into the womb. It's like even my new look, this room, it's going to feel more womb-like. Well, that's the plan anyway, guys. We'll see if I can execute it, but that's the plan. The world we inhabit began from the oceanic waters of life and the waters that surround us in the womb, both of which are the domain of the Incan goddess, Mama Kocha. So Incan goddess, Inca. We are most attuned to the qualities of water, as the element of water symbolically represents our emotions. Our emotions move us to make and perceive the world as we know it. Yeah. Mastering our emotions, mastering our mind. The beauty in this truth is found by observing water in all her properties and forms. Water is fluid and it passes through cracks and flaws in the ground without stress. moving around obstacles and patiently wearing away the most jagged rocks until they are smooth and gleaming. Water ebbs and flows, comes and goes in a powerful rhythmic motion as the seas and ocean reveal their promise of release and return. Water rises up from the ground and seeds the clouds and then rains upon the earth to ensure growth. Water turns to hard ice and blankets the world in a protective shell, even of soft snow, allowing the dormancy of life to herald a time of dreaming. And then the ice melts and the cycles begin again. I love that. It's also talking in this thing about the fact that there's many people feeling overwhelmed. I would agree with that right now. Empathy overload, I would agree with that as well. It's opened up a tidal wave of emotion that feels like it is threatening to engulf you. Absolutely. So if you're feeling like that, and I definitely have had times like that recently, can you understand why this more chilled rhythm, this calmer pace, this turning away from that which is distraction, that which is noise, that which is unnecessary, what William calls breaking news every 5 seconds. Oh my God, have you heard this development? Have you heard that? Have you heard this? And then we're all going to have an opinion on it and we're all going to fight each other and be unpleasant. And then we go to bed and it's stewing and it's manifesting and it's toxic within us. I say no to that. I say no to that. I don't want to be part of it. As I read this bit, it says, the goddess Mama Kocha says, your task now is to detach. Step back and allow your feelings to pass through you like water without judgment or disapproval. Let your fears be washed away with self-love and understanding. The world can be a chaotic place, and uncertainty can create instability where people will act out in incomprehensible ways. Move to higher ground. Say no to engaging and wait. Now is the time to respond when you feel ready rather than react in the heat of the moment. Let the goddess Mama Kocha's waters of life hold you up and surround you like the fluid did in your mother's womb. Let love be that water. Oh my goodness, guys, that is so beautiful. And you don't know, but off camera, I was just thinking so much about the womb this morning and returning to the womb. That's just what I think where we're at. We're returning to the womb, but it's this time we're not returning as, defenseless little embryos. That we're returning in a different way. And the womb is Mother Earth's womb, and she has all that we need. But the energy of water, because water is what creates new life. But I love this phrase, let love be that water. I'll have to show you at this point the card from the Christ Consciousness deck, which is an obvious one to show you. Let love be that water. Hello. What would love do from the Christ Consciousness deck by moi and Jane? It's the heart that is gushing with water, and beside it we've got the holy chalice. It says, what would love do? What would love do? Ooh, and I haven't, look, it's so funny. You can't see it, but there's another card that's just fallen out of the deck that I didn't realise had. Look at that. The 3 wise monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. It's the card of temptation. It says it's your moral compass. It's not Joe Blogg's moral compass over there and what he said and what he's done. It's what you've said. It's what you've done. It's what you've heard and whether you've chosen to pass it on as gossip and maliciousness online, There are so many subjects right now I don't even want to cover because I just know what some people would say. I'm just not into it. I'm not going to be a space for that type of energy because I want to be this space for love, the energy of love. How perfect are these 2 cards? They work so beautifully together. Your moral compass, you see, I want this monkey who's covering his eyes here. I was also talking about the monkey mind, wasn't I? It's like we're not wanting to look at where love is. We're not wanting to look at where beauty is. We're not wanting to look where compassion is. We're not wanting to look where gentleness is. Our antenna, and it's because it's been manipulated, it's like we're tuned into the drama, the gossip, all of that. And it's also true when we look at individuals in our world. Of course, there are people out there who are bad, who are dark, but even in them, usually there's some light, there's some goodness. There's a few in particular that have passed in our world. I'm not going to go there in this video, but it's like they also did extraordinary acts of goodness in their life, even if it was to cover up their darkness. God is the judge ultimately. But anyway, the point is, it's just try to look, it's the energy of namaste. The divine in me sees the divine in you. I see your light. Rather than this energy of projection and blame. Oh, you did that. You said this. Oh, I don't like you anymore. That person that you've just walked away from or you've unfollowed, they could have a heart of gold. Let's not cut off our nose to spite our face, as they say. But yeah, the energy of what would love do. I think I'm going to end with the energy of water. We can't get away from it really, can we, in a 2023 year, which is the energy of water. Let me just get the water spray. So the sprays we've basically used in this video are magenta and water. And this one just says flow. So let's see. Does feel as though there's a lot of emotion to be expressed this month. She said, coughing. Emotional times, emotional month. It's Libra, isn't it? Libra season, which is also about balance. So trying to balance our emotions. You can't balance anybody else's emotions, okay? You can only balance your own. So work on that. I will come back and I will do a reading with the eclipses and what they may bring, assuming I get information on that. But for now, I'm going to leave this message here. I hope it's resonated. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give a little like to the video and please make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel because I think there might be gremlins in the machine. But there's also fairies as well and angels. So let's concentrate on that. And you're one of them if you're watching me. I see your angelic light. Much love. Take care. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye for now. Bye.